Good evening, everybody. It is August 21st, 2024. It is 10:12 at night. Okay, I have to put this dream on here that I had before I forget. I had to wait. I had to charge my phone. It was only like at 11%. So I went to sleep. I got up this morning at like 1 something. It was like sometime after 1 o'clock, I think, or was it 3 o'clock? I forgot. I think it was like 1. It was a little after 1 or something like that. And I went back to sleep, and I had like a good dream and a bad dream, like all in one dream or something. I had a dream that I was laying in this bed. That's my bed right there. And I was laying on my back, and I had my phone, my Samsung phone, in my hand. And I forgot how many times I tried to wake up, but it was like I couldn't move. It was like it took every ounce of my energy that I had to get up out of bed, and I kept being like, I gotta get up out of bed. I gotta get up out of bed. I was like, let me get up out of bed. And I remember thinking somehow that my phone, as long as I had my phone, that everything would be okay. And so I kept holding on to my phone, and it was like my body was just so heavy, and like I couldn't get out of bed. And I would just have to use every ounce of my energy to get out of bed. And whenever I would get out of bed, I would like put the covers off of me, and I would get out of bed, and then I would walk between the two beds and around the corner. And sometimes there are two dressers here at the ends of the beds. Well, there would be like this, sometimes there would be like this really tall, like brown dresser, and then sometimes like wood brown dresser, and then there would be something else. I forgot what it was. But every time it was like different. And I would get into the kitchen, and then the kitchen would like expand, and it would get longer and longer and longer and longer. And I remember seeing one time that I got up, the floor was white, and then there was this really long phone cord. Like back in the day, when phones had really long phone cords. And so there's this really long white phone cord, and it was like strung out on the floor. And Jeremy was in the living room sitting in a chair or on the couch, talking on the phone. But I couldn't ever make it into the living room for some reason. I have no idea why. Every time in my dream, like I would get into the kitchen, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get into the living room. And then I would be back in bed. I would get to the kitchen, and then I would be back in bed. And I just kept thinking, you've got to get up. You have got to get up. And then I kept telling myself in my dream, wake up, wake up. You've got to wake up. You've got to wake up. And like, I would just keep getting out of bed. And then I would walk around, and I would walk out into the kitchen, and it would be the same thing. I would walk into the kitchen and I wouldn't ever make it into the living room. I knew Jeremy was in there in the living room, but I couldn't ever make it into the living room. And then all of a sudden, one time, I got up and there was, every time that big dresser, and it was like kind of blocking the door a little bit, but then it would move back and I was able to open the door. There would be, like, right as you got out of the kitchen, like, all of a sudden, the whole apartment turned into this humongous house. And it was so beautiful. This house was so beautiful. It was in such good condition. And, like, I walked up to the wall. There was, like, this wall where the bathroom is. There was, like, this wall that was, like, sticking out or whatever. And I, like, walked up to it and I, like, walked right into it. And I stood there for a second. And then where the bathroom is in the apartment, it was a bedroom. And so I sat there after a while and I counted how many rooms that I went into. There were so many rooms in this house, but I went into 8 rooms. I counted. And in each room was different. Each room had, like, some of them were kids' rooms, some of them were adult rooms, some of them were, one of them was a room that had an adult with a baby bassinet and a baby crib, and so I went into this house and I was walking around and I was like, okay, I was like, just let me go into a room. I was like, okay, if I can't wake up, I was like, just let me go into a room. Just let me continue on with this dream. Let me get somewhere in this dream. And so, and then one of the times, I remember I heard Jeremy grab his keys, because I do that a lot whenever I'm laying in bed. I hear him either put his keys into the coffee can on the end table next to the door, or I hear him take them out of the coffee can and leave the apartment. And that's what he was evidently doing. He was leaving the apartment. And I was like, Jeremy! I was trying to holler for Jeremy, and I couldn't even hardly holler. It was like I could barely talk. And I could barely open my eyes. And it was like something was just, like, holding me to the bed. And I just, on my back, and I just couldn't get up. But then eventually I could get up, but it took, like, every ounce of my energy just to get out of bed and to get into the rest of the apartment. But then the apartment was at a house, and when I opened the door and it was a house, and I think this house had more than 8 rooms, but I only went into 8 rooms. And it went, oh, this house was so beautiful. It was so spacious and had so many rooms, and there were kids in there. And in one room, there was a kid that had, I think it was bunk beds in his room, but his room was, like, really, really small, but it had bunk beds. And then there was another room, and eventually I was able to walk around this house and explore this house and, you know, go into the different rooms and stuff like that. And one time I went into, it was like this huge living room area type thing, and then it went into this, there was like this room that was just like it didn't have anything in it, and then you went into the kitchen. You went, like, this way, and then you went into the kitchen, and went in there, and we got something to eat, a little something to eat, and then there was, like, this woman in there, and she had, like, this brown thing on her head, and she had like a brown dress on, and she gave me food. And then I walked out of the kitchen, and I noticed that there was a bedroom off of this, like, I want to say it was like a foyer area. It was like this huge, because I remember seeing a door, and it had, as I walked past, it had like this window. It was this rectangular window and this door, but I never went out the door. I just like walked back and forth, and there was this bedroom off to the side, like the kitchen was on this side and the bedroom was on this side, but it didn't ever go into that bedroom. And then I forgot what I was doing. I think I was just like walking around the house or something. And then all of a sudden, I was in the bedroom. I think I was in this bedroom. I think I might have been back in this bedroom. And then I was in this bedroom. And then I got up again. And then that big dresser, that big brown dresser was there. And I walked out of the, it wasn't like a dresser. It was like one of those, what are those things that like you can keep your clothes in it, but it's like really, really tall. I forgot what that's called. But it also had drawers in it too, but it also had like where you could like hang your clothes and stuff like that. It was like one of those. It was really huge, and it took up the whole space where the two dressers are. And then I went back out into the house, and I went into this room. I have no idea what room it was. I guess it was just like some kind of like a sitting room area or something. I'm not really, it wasn't a bedroom. It was just like a room, just where like everybody sits around and stuff like that. And there was this desk or something, I think. And there was like this desk up against the wall, and all of a sudden, for some reason, I have no idea why. Maybe it's because I've been thinking about him a lot lately. Maybe it's because I just happened to run across a Jonathan Knight video on YouTube this morning. I'm not really sure why they were there, but they were all there. Again, I had a dream that the New Kids on the Block walked into this room, and they were all there, and there were some other people there too. And I remember I was sitting on Donnie's lap. I remember that. And he was messing with something on a desk or something. And as I was sitting there, some of this dream I am not going to tell because I'm just not going to do it. I was sitting on his lap, and I kissed him like right here, and he was like, "Thank you." And I told him, I said something about one of his concerts or something, and I was like, "Well, I just woke up." I was like, "So, what did I say?" I was like, "I just woke up, so I have no idea what you've been doing," or something like that. And then I just sat there, and then I kissed him on the cheek, and I was like, "Well, I guess you're gonna have to stuff me in your duffel bag in order to get me into the concert." I have no idea why I said that. But I said it, and then all of a sudden, I turned around as I was sitting on Donnie's lap, and we were like calling each other babe and everything. I have no idea. Like, this would probably never happen, but it was a dream, whatever. So I turned around, and all of a sudden, Jordan walks in, and he's wearing this bright green shirt. And I've been watching New Kids on the Block videos while my phone's been charging, and I just noticed that Danny in one of the videos is wearing a bright green shirt. I had never watched that video before in my life. And he walks in and he's really skinny. Like, he's a lot skinnier in the dream than he is in, like, the videos that I've seen him in. And he walks in and he's got, like, his hair's, like, all grown out and stuff like it used to be, like, back in the day. And he's, like, chewing gum, and he's, like, all smiles. He's, like, smiling, like, really big, and I was like, "Hey, Jordan." And we, like, hug each other, and then me and Donnie are just, like, talking, and then this is all I'm gonna say is, and then we just decided to go into another room of the house. That's all I'm gonna say. Well, and then, so as we were walking, we're, like, walking, and we're, like, holding hands, and, I was like, "But let's not go into a kid's room." And he was like, "Yeah, let's not go into a kid's room." And so we went into this, and Jordan is, like, following us. He's like, "Da, da, 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 da," and he's just, like, following us, all smiles and just like, "Da, da, 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 da." I'm like, "Okay." And we go into this room, and there's one bedroom this way, and there's one bedroom this way. And so we go into the bedroom on the right, and I'm like, "This isn't a kid's room, is it?" I'm, like, looking around, and the colors are all bright and just pretty, and, like, the comforter's, like, yellow and blue, and there's, like, kids stuff all over. I'm like, "Oh," I'm like, "Okay, this is a kid's room." I'm like, "No, no, no, not in this room." And so then we walk out, and then we find another bedroom, and it's a waterbed bedroom, and I'm like, and somebody said, "We chose the waterbed bedroom." and and Jordan's still following us around. And then the bedspread, I noticed, like, on the bed is, like, brown. It's brown, and it's got, like, this really pretty pattern on it and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, and that is the dream that I had. So I wanted to put this on here before I forgot, because it was another one of those. I've had so many dreams of me being in bed. Oh wait, I forgot. And then there was a kid. One of the times I woke up, there was a red comforter on Jeremy's bed, and I woke up and there was a kid laying in the bed, and he was all smiles, and he had, like, dark hair, and I was like, as I walked by, and then I, like, walked out of the bedroom, and so, oh, and then I forgot. We went into this one room, or I went into the one room. I forgot if it was me and Donnie or if it was just me. It was one of the two. We went into this room, and there was a baby in a bassinet, and then there was another baby in, I think it was a crib. And then it looked like there was somebody laying in the bed, and there was, like, this yellow comforter thingamajiggy that they were laying. And the baby started crying a little bit, like, not, like, crying, like, really bad or anything, just kind of like, like, whenever they wake up, they're just like, "Oh." And I was like, "Oh." And so I went to the bassinet, and I picked the baby up, and I was holding the baby. And the baby, I noticed, had a blue pacifier. And so I was holding the baby, and then the baby was okay. And I didn't pick up the other baby because I didn't know if I could hold two babies at once. So, but the other baby was fine. And then for some reason, like, all of a sudden I was back in this apartment, and I remember thinking that the baby was in bed with me, or the baby was in the bed, and I was, like, throwing the covers off and everything, and I was, like, trying to find the baby, and I found the baby, but the baby, like, somehow was, like, a doll or something. I have no idea. But, so yeah, So that is it. That was my dream. And of course, I looked it up in my Ira Milligan book. And I haven't looked it up in Sandy Fried's book. But yeah, it was, like I said, so it was like a really good dream, but it was a bad dream. So, kind of both of them together. And I haven't had a dream like that in a long time, so. So that's my dream. That's all I've got for you for this video. Don't forget to go out there and rainbow it. Fill the world with love, peace, joy, charity. All the good fruits of the Spirit. Thank you, and have a good day, have a good night, or have a good evening, depending on what time you're watching this.